So we are back again with another deck list, and this time we have anti-song aggro, and this might just be one of the best aggro decks of the format. So without further ado, we're going to go through the cards and talk about why, and then I have 3 replays where we commentate them, and we have a throwdown with the hyper aggro deck on who truly is the best aggro deck. But without further ado, let's jump right in. We have 11 1 costs, 20 2 costs, 10 3 costs, not uncommon for aggro to be high in the 1-2 category, 5 4 costs. We come in at 12 5 costs, which is a little higher than some, but again, the Amber decks have a lot of really good 5 cost cards, and we do actually have 2 6 cost cards. 11 uninkables, 49 inkables, meaning you will have more than enough ink in your deck. 4 songs, 2 locations, and 54 characters. So, without further ado, our 1-drops, we are playing 3 Lilo Banking a Wish, 4 The Queen, 4 Cursed Merfolk. So Merfolk and Lilo are your heavy hitters early on. You're playing these 7 cards because they're 1-drops that quest you for multiple lore. In addition, you have your Queen, who you can shift by turn 2 to gain multiple lore. More importantly, your big queen really helps deal with your opponent's boards if you need to take out bigger threats or locations. So you don't just go aggro or bust. The first of our bodyguards, we are playing 4 Simba because it's our 2 cost to help protect your Merfolk and your Lilo. We also have 4 Wendy Darling. Having a 2 cost 2 quester with 3 willpower is very nice just because you survive that hit from something like swords and just other characters with more than 1 strength. Another 2 quester that is very strong is your Flynn Rider because unlike Merfolk, he's inkable and he has 1 extra strength and willpower. However, if they wish to challenge him, just like your Merfolk, they're going to lose a card in their hand or be forced to dump their hand prematurely. Your Ursula Deceiver is one of the ways that you play anti-song. We called it anti-song aggro. We're playing 4 of her to be able to look at your opponent's hand, gain the knowledge to play your hand better, and get rid of those pesky songs that deal with your cards. 2 Baloo because he's uninkable, and we just experimented a lot with the deck. He started out as a 4 of, but he ended up here. 3 cost bodyguard. And the real downside for him is the 0 strength. He is very nice where he gets you 2 lore when he's banished. However, that 0 strength really does put a damper on some plays when you just need your bodyguard to do something. Going into our 3 drops, we have 4 Doc because he helps us get into our 5 and 6 cost characters a little bit easier due to paying less when he quests. In addition to that, he is a 2 strength, 3 willpower multi-quester. That's always good. And then your Kit Cloud Kicker, probably one of the most underrated cards from Into the Inklands, being able to kind of protect your other cards because you can bounce things back from your opponent's board to protect your weaker cards so they can quest for another turn. This card is very crucial. I mean, we're not really playing songs. However, if your opponent's playing songs and they're on Ursula Deceiver of All, guess what? Do you really want them to bounce 2, draw 4, or deal like 4 damage, draw 2? All of the different crazy things that card can do. This card is your answer to that to stop her before they can sing and then double sing. 3 Tinkerbell, most helpful, being evasive, giving another card evasive, and questing for multiple makes her very, very good. 4 Kita. Kita comes in about turn 5 or 6 typically when you're going wide, and your opponent also baits into going wide because they're going to destroy your board. Kita comes down giving everything -3, which essentially means you can quest for free this turn, and that means next turn you're going to have your full board to quest once again. Typically when she comes down, you'll be able to quest for around 6 or more that turn. In addition to that, you're probably going to go for 6 to 8 on your following turn. That's a 14-point swing in just a matter of 2 turns. We're not playing the little Kita because our other 1-drops are just more important, and you're not really shifting her out turn 3 anyway because by turn 3 you're not well set up to take advantage of her powerful ability. We are playing for Nani because as a bodyguard who quests for multiple, but her 3 strength really pressures your opponent because her 6 willpower means she's going to stick around. Again, the 4 queens because yes, she can quest for multiple. She's a 4/3 and her +4/-4 allows you to deal with your opponent's boards in this aggro strategy. Finally, our last character, we have 2 Genie on the job. When you play this character, return a chosen character to their hand. You disrupt their temple, force them to replay cards, and he's evasive, questing for multiple. This card is very, very strong. Our songs, we're playing 4 Bare Necessities because, like Ursula, this is anti-song. We want to see our opponent's hand to properly play our hand most effectively. You can get rid of their songs, but unlike Ursula, Bare Necessities allows you to hit items and locations. And then finally, we're playing 2 Fang. It's a 4 cost, but it quests for 2. Well, not quests, but at the beginning of your turn, you get 2, and with 6 willpower, it forces your opponent to have multiple cards on board to answer it in that one turn. Otherwise, you're going to be getting a nice little chunk of lore. And if they don't deal with it, guess what? You're going to be able to move your cards there, gain evasive and ward. That's pretty strong if you ask me. So 2 costs to move there, but the payoff of evasive and ward is very well worth it. Let's go get on into those replays now. And also, I guess one last thing, to me, anything under $100 is a decently budget deck, especially seeing things like Deceiver of All and Beast Tragic Hero, Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood as $40+ cards, when it's $160 for a playset of a singular card in a deck. An entire deck for under 100 is not too bad. But again, let's go get into those replays. So let's jump right into our first replay against Amber, Ruby, and like I said, we got 3 of these. If I had $1 for every time I go second when playing aggro, I could probably afford a playset of Ursula Deceiver of All by now. This is getting a bit ridiculous. Pixelborn, why do I always go second? It's crazy that this keeps happening. But anyway, we open Merfolk, Simba, Queen, Doc, Bare Necessities, Merfolk, and Ursula. When I see Amber, Ruby, I think Mufasa Roulette, which instantly means things like Ursula and Bare Necessities are going to be less optimal. I never like keeping 2 cursed Merfolk, so we're going to get rid of that. And as far as the Doc goes, we don't really need them. We keep Queen in case we hit the little Queen. Otherwise, I have absolutely no issues inking our Queen. So we draw into a Flynn, another Bare Necessities, Kita, and a second Simba. That's not too bad. We're in an okay spot. Our opponent inks Wendy and comes down with Minnie. We draw into our Genie on the job, get rid of that Bare Necessities, and put down our Merfolk. We know we got the Simba for our bodyguard, and our opponent does come down with his own Wendy. So here, we get rid of 1 Simba because we really don't need 2 of them. We're safe to quest with Merfolk, so we play our bodyguard, exert it, and quest. Now, seeing what our opponent is going to do, they ink and play a Doc. So Doc can make this a little difficult because, well, now he can take out my Simba by attacking, then he can take out Merfolk, and all of his cards would survive. So we have to do something to swing the tempo back in our favor. We draw our Kit Cloud Kicker, which, again, this card is so underrated. We don't need Queen at this point, so we get rid of her. But we get to disrupt our opponent's tempo, getting rid of the Doc, put some damage on the Wendy. We have complete control now because we set him an entire turn back. Prince Eric comes down, which that's probably one of the best cards he could have came back with on turn 4. Here, debating what we wanted to do. We draw into another Genie, so now we have multiple uninkable cards. It's like, you gotta play smart because the Prince Eric is there, so you need to be aware that he's here. Otherwise, again, you're going to be in just a bad spot because he can take out something like, say we put down our Nani. He could attack into the Simba, destroy himself and Simba, and then also take out the Nani in the process. Being said, I do think keeping Nani here would have been more beneficial than keeping Kita. I was like, okay, I can come back with Kita in a couple turns and then basically get a free turn. However, I think the bodyguard here would have been better. Since I'm not going to play them this turn no matter what, I just don't think I played that properly. Because again, Kita, he didn't go wide enough to really make Kita matter. We put down the Flynn, and that is our turn. Surfer gets inked, Doc comes back down, and Piglet also comes down. He takes out our Simba again, and then he takes out that Flynn Rider. He could have right there quested and took out, or not quested, challenged and took out our Merfolk, but maybe he wanted that last card in his hand. We draw into our Wendy, so now this kind of worked out, however, because he did come down with multiple characters, and we happened to survive the swing from the Prince Eric. So if we go ahead and ink Wendy and play Kita, that means we're going to get 3 lore here, and then we have 5 more on our next turn. Our opponent, however, is also going to quest for quite a bit. The Madame Medusa coming down hurts. She's able to get rid of our Kita, however, that just means we get 3 less here. So now our opponent is in a pretty good spot. He's got Doc, Piglet, the Mini, and the Medusa at 14. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have to do something to take him down. Luckily, we draw into a card that does give us another ink. So we can go ahead, ink Bare Necessities, and then come down with our Genie and say, get rid of Doc. In addition to that, we could debate, do you quest? Or here we take out the Piglet with our Cloud Kicker to get rid of the threat there. Again, now Genie comes down and gets rid of the Doc. So if he takes out the Merfolk, which again would cost him a card in his hand, we still go to 14 here. And we have another Genie in hand. However, he's at 14. So it's kind of like, what do you do? For the spot he's at, he inks and then plays the Piglet. Again, I think we draw into our Doc. So let's say he attacks the Merfolk, because you probably should have. So if you attack the Merfolk, you're only at 15. You still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're still in go out range. Either way, Genie still takes out Mini. So no matter what, it doesn't change the fact that I take out Mini, you can't quest out. So I do think he played that improperly. However, because he did, we take advantage of it. It's hard to say exactly what would happen. Then we come down with another Genie and bounce the Piglet. So say he attacked and took out our Merfolk. He would be at 15. We'd still come down with Genie, bounce the Piglet. So he'd have these 2 on board at 15. We could quest to 14, or we could attack the Mini. Probably attack the Mini knowing he has Piglet, because that other card wouldn't be in hand. So you attack the Mini, so Piglet won't get the multiple lore. Come down with the other Genie, it'd still be 12 to 15. He could go to 16 with the 2, possibly another card on board. If he has that other card, or he draws into another one to play it though, he'd probably win. So I would have to take out the Medusa, which means I would only go to 14. But then he'd have the Piglet still. So again, it's really hard to say, because now we're looking 3 turns into the future, and you really don't know what you and your opponent are going to draw. At the end of the day, I think we can agree he should have challenged the Merfolk, but because he didn't, we do get the win. And again, it doesn't mean we would have lost, especially seeing that Chernobog, but that was probably the card he did not want to discard. Me personally, see you later. I don't like the card. I've tested it so much, and I think I've lost every game that I saw it in my hand. You just funnel your play into Chernobog way too much, and it is far too easy for your opponent to disrupt. So, Ruby Steel is our next matchup. We're going second. Shocker. Wendy, Queen, Flynn Rider, Ursula, Merfolk, Fang, and Queen. Again, so he could very well have locations, and I full-on expect locations in this deck. So Bare Necessities would be good. As far as songs, he might have some, but I'm not super like set that he's playing a lot of songs. So Ursula to me is a little lackluster. We can keep one queen on the off chance that we hit it. We keep Flynn just as a good quester, and Merfolk as a turn 1 play. We get rid of our other cards. We hit a bodyguard, we hit a bodyguard, we hit Genie, and we hit a Flynn. Unfortunately, we have 3 uninkable cards now. But that's not necessarily the end of the world. So our opponent inks a Maui and plays Captain Hook. Luckily, Simba will trade with Captain Hook very well. We play the Merfolk down and see what our opponent does for his turn 2. We drew into another Flynn. We draw into another Ursula, so we can go ahead quest, get rid of Ursula, and then play our Simba. Again, Captain Hook and Simba trade off very well. Our opponent inks and then passes turn. So here, since he passed, we don't need to play Baloo yet. We can throw a Flynn Rider down. Our opponent inks Queen of Hearts and comes down with Prince Eric. This card could definitely be problematic most of the time. However, given the cards we have, it's going to take him multiple turns to get rid of Baloo, and even if he does, our cards aren't strong enough to take out his Prince Eric. So he's going to spend a lot of time challenging us just to fall a little short. Ratigan does come down though, so he can go ahead and take out our Baloo this turn. We still go to 10 with 4 more on board. He has 3 in hand, and we draw another Flynn Rider, so we go ahead and quest with both of them. We're now at 14. He's going to have to lose 2 cards in hand or aggressively dump his hand here. So he could ink 1 potentially, and if he's lucky, play 2. The other card would get discarded from the attack. Then both of these can attack, and we still have 2 more Flynns, so we go to 18. And as long as we hit something inkable, our Genie comes down the following turn. Against Ruby, though, that hardly means you win, but he would be top decking because, again, the rest of his hand would have to get dumped and drawn off. So I like our chances to win. He would get 1 draw to see if he can out the Genie. He does admit defeat. So our final replay, Amber Amethyst Hyper Aggro versus Anti-Song Aggro, and oh my goodness, we are going first. We have Merfolk, Flynn, Bodyguard Simba, and Kita. We don't need Fang or the other Simbas, so we're in a very good spot. We draw into Kit Cloud Kicker, which again is going to be very good in this matchup, Ursula, and a big queen. Ursula here, you could hit something like Friends on the other side, but outside of that, she's not the greatest choice to draw. Seeing our opponent, we get that Merfolk down. He inks a queen just like us and plays the Chernobog's followers. We go ahead, get rid of 1 Simba, quest, and play the other. Now he's going to quest to draw because he's just going to lose his Chernobog's followers if he tries to attack. He inks a Friends on the other side, which, again, to me was a bit interesting. The card's pretty good to keep your resources up. Draws a queen, plays the queen. We hit Bare Necessities. We see his hand. So Queen, Mim, Merlin, Hades, Queen. I can work with that, but it's not necessarily ideal. We're going to get hit by Queen or by Mim. I'd rather make him spend more resources. So we go ahead and get rid of the Queen, because otherwise he would shift Queen, could take out the Simba, and still have the Mim. I'd rather get the Mim gone and deal with the Queen later. So Kit was going to finish off whatever one we had to. We quest for 2 more, and then we put down another threat in Flint. We have Baloo, so that's going to help us out a little bit more. Queen and Chernobog both come down as well. He did it this way, so next turn he can shift Queen, quest a Queen, give the boost to the Chernobog, and that's kind of what he's doing. We get rid of the Kita to be able to come down with Merfolk again. He doesn't have mass removal, so I want to just threaten a bunch, because if he gets rid of the Baloo, then Chernobog could here challenge and get rid of either one of those, but we're still up to 16 to 1 in advantage. He goes after our Merfolk, and we draw into a Fang. So here we can go ahead. I'm like, we go. He has a Rabbit in hand. We know it. So there's nothing unknown. We go quest, go to 16, put down Fang. He has to get rid of 2 of these cards, which again is going to be very easy for him. What would be the best way here? Would you... You can quest with Queen. No matter what, you can't get rid of all of them, right? So I guess quest with Queen to get you the points. So he does play it properly. I was going to say, if you, like, Queen hit Fang, then the other two take out my 2 cards. You'd lose both cards in hand unless you dump them. And then Fang would still have 2 health. But again, that's very minimal. We quest, so we boost. And then we're going to take out the Fang. So I'm going to go to 18, however. So going up 18 to 3 in a deck full of multi-questers, I'm feeling okay. We draw into our Tinkerbell, again, full of multi-questers. He has to draw a card right here in order to win the game. It's a snake, so it doesn't work. But that means he can bounce rabbit and draw into a card. And is it enough? Going to discard, it was that rabbit to attack, and it's not going to help. We can go ahead and quest, banish to draw, but with 3 ink. What could he draw here with 3 ink? Evasive, destruction, nothing. There's nothing here that can save him. I don't know. I don't think he has an answer in his entire deck for this particular situation, fortunately for us. So we show him our Ursula, quest with our Tinkerbell, and that is the game. So, here we go. That was it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, all that fun stuff. And until next time, guys, take care.